Welcome to the longest river in all of Australia. This here is the River Berri. It stretches over 2,500 kilometers. That is twice the length of Great Britain. It's the same distance from Mexico to Canada. So it's a very, very long river. Now this place here is famous for its houseboats and for the incredible wine in the region, but I'm not here for any of that. I'm here to look for the incredible bird life and wildlife that call this area its home. So join me as I explore the River Berri. And you know what? It's at the end of the day. As you can see, this incredible sunset behind me. So let me show you what I've already seen.
Over these 2 days, I captured some incredible moments, and I went on some of the most beautiful walks that I've ever been on. I captured tranquil moments, and I filmed deadly ones too. From kingfishers to parrots to reptiles to Australia's icons, I saw an endless amount of species. Join me on this unforgettable 2-day road trip through the Riverland.
I cannot believe this photo. This is the best photo I've ever taken in my entire life.
Now it's a long drive up to Berri, which is where we'll be staying when exploring the Riverland. So we stopped halfway for a quick walk. So the first thing that I saw here was, I believe, a yellow-rumped thornbill. If I'm wrong with any of the species that I talk about, by the way, just let me know in the comments. Now before you get too excited about this sighting, it's actually one of the few native songbirds that's found across almost the entire continent, from arid inland to coastal farmland. But even so, I was happy to see them. After that, it wasn't long until I saw the next species, which was a red wattlebird. This is one of Australia's most iconic and chaotic honey eaters. You can easily distinguish them with the red fleshy wattles that are hanging behind the eye. This species will actually claim a flowering tree, and then it will defend it, so it will chase off lorikeets and miners and anything else that tries to feed from it. But my long drive wasn't over, so I had to say goodbye and get back into the car. Now the first stop was going to be a long walk at this place called Martin's Bend Reserve. Apparently this is a hotspot for birdwatching, and that proved to be true immediately as there were a bunch of welcome swallows flying around the car park. These guys eat flying insects and catch them mid-air with incredible precision. But mate, you haven't even left the car park, so it's now time for me to start the walk, and it wasn't long until I saw my next species, the pelican. I always love seeing Australian pelicans. They're such beautiful creatures. They actually have the longest bill of any living bird in the world, and they can get up to 50 centimeters long. So I was watching this group of pelicans here. They were swimming around. A cormorant here was trying to blend in with them, but I didn't fall for it. That's definitely not a pelican there. These birds are very, very large. Their wingspan can actually reach up to 2.5 meters. And if you've ever had a pelican walk up to you wanting a fish or something, you immediately notice that they're quite large. One cool thing that I got to see here was they actually were hunting or fishing together. So what they do is they actually cooperate together in groups in order to herd fish. And you can see them doing that here. So they're all actually fishing together here. And they do this at the same time. It was a very cool moment that I was glad to capture on camera. As I was filming them, a little pied cormorant flew over. These are also very common in Australia. You can find them in freshwater and coastal environments. After that, I continued the walk, looking for some more species. It was an absolutely gorgeous day. The sun was out, birds were happy. Above, some white ibises flew over, rudely called bin chickens in Australia. Then, as I was walking, I heard a rustling in the bushes. Now this here, I believe, is a variegated fairy wren. The males display brilliant colours during breeding season and are a bit duller in winter, but here you can see it's more red back and the blue face. They were really active, so it was quite difficult to get some good shots, but I'm pretty happy with these. After that, I kept walking, looking for the next species. And it happened to be a very common bird, which is the noisy myna. These are extremely aggressive honey eaters known for mobbing other birds. I see these every day, so I didn't stay for too long. But after that, I saw this white-plumed honey eater. I don't see these very often, but apparently they're common along rivers, creeks, and towns with gum trees. But I was still happy to see it. After that, I saw these black cormorants sitting in the trees, looking over the river. They sat gracefully, sunbathing, enjoying the weather. After that, I spotted a species that I was very happy to see. This here is a red-rumped parrot. As you can see, the back is red, hence the name red-rumped parrot. I was quite worried that I would scare it off, so I tried to do my best to go unnoticed, but as you can see, he kept looking at me. He knew I was there, but I think he wasn't too threatened. He wasn't moving much, and the other one wasn't moving much either. And after a while, I realized why they were so still. There was actually a kite. I believe this is a whistling kite that was flying over, scanning the perimeter. It haunted over the trees as the parrots and the other birds hid in the bushes. I ended up seeing a lot of these over this trip, but there was one moment later on that I couldn't believe that I caught on camera. But we'll get to that later on. Amongst those trees, I saw this parrot here. I couldn't really identify. I still can't figure out what type of parrot this is. It might be a red-rumped parrot, but if it is something else, please let me know in the comments. After watching these for a while, nearby I noticed a yellow rosella. So these are a subspecies of the crimson rosella, and they're restricted to mainly the Murray River system. They prefer river red gum forests, billabongs, and floodplains. They eat seeds, fruits, nuts, flowers, and insects. And then I spotted my next species, the laughing kookaburra. Now this is famous for its loud rolling laugh that you've probably heard. But something you might not know is it's actually a type of kingfisher, and it's the largest kingfisher species in the world. I've seen kookaburras hundreds of times, but still every single time that I see one I get very excited. They're just such beautiful creatures, and they're just synonymous for me with the Australian bushland and Australian outback. I then saw some movement and spotted my next species, the superb Berri wren. This is one of Australia's most recognised small birds. The breeding males turn this bright blue, and in non-breeding seasons, they appear more brownish. These are quite common, so I didn't look for too long, but I did end up taking this photo, which I quite like. After that, I saw this European starling, and then I saw what I believe is a lifer for me. This here is a butcher bird, and I caught it doing something quite spectacular. Now what this grey butcherbird is doing is what I believe is referred to as butchering. This is when they will wedge prey, like a shell or a bug or something, in between branches, and then pull, hoping to tear it open and get the food inside. Now either butcherbirds aren't too stressed about people, or it was just very preoccupied, as it didn't have a problem with me sneaking up close to get this footage. This is me doing the voiceover just as I was about to export it. In this screenshot here I realized it was actually a lizard or a snake head. It wasn't a shell, which was quite interesting to realize. I watched him for about 5 minutes, and it was very interesting to see this. He jumped from different branches to different branches looking for the perfect place to put this, I can't really tell what this is, but whatever food this is, he kept trying to find the perfect place to wedge it in order to open it. Now I was glad that I got this footage of it opening up this shell, but I also managed to get some footage of it hunting. Now at first I didn't realize that it was hunting. It was sitting on this branch here, and it was completely ignoring me, staring into the grass. He was preoccupied, he had something on his mind. And then, all of a sudden, he pounced. He landed in the grass and he had caught something, some insect, some next meal. And then he was off. This place is absolutely beautiful. I'm still on, my first walk in the region, and I've seen so much already, and it wasn't long until I saw my next species. Now I believe this is a chestnut-rumped thornbill. They forage low in shrubs and on the ground for insects, and they live in small family groups. I don't know if I've seen one before, or if I haven't seen them many times, so I was very excited to capture this footage. They were quite scared though, so I couldn't get too close, and when I tried to, they flew away. After that, I believe I saw another yellow-rumped thornbill, but it could be another species. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. It was very far away, so it was quite difficult to identify. Speaking of birds that I can't identify, this one here, I just don't know. It's a bit too far away, and yeah. If you know, let me know in the comments. Then flying past here, we have a cuckoo shrike. These are known for their graceful flights, which I was lucky to capture here on camera. They eat insects, caterpillars, and berries. And they build messy stick nests high up in the trees. These are quite common in woodlands, farmlands, and in towns. And then high up in the trees, I saw this spiny-cheeked honey-eater. He didn't stay for very long. Out here there are a lot of flies, as you can see. Once you enter outback Australia, you are guaranteed to be covered in flies. But I ignored them and kept looking for birds. I then got to a pond area and saw these grey teal swimming. These are one of Australia's most widespread ducks. They prefer shallow lakes and billabongs and slow rivers, so this place is perfect for them. And then nearby in the trees were some more yellow rosellas. So they actually nest in deep hollow trees, often eucalyptus, and you can see them inspecting or either already inhabiting this tree here. One of the pair was crawling inside and having a look. After that, I saw these magpie larks, which is a confusing name as they're not magpies nor larks. After that, I saw a more colourful bird. This here is the red-rumped parrot. These are native to southeastern Australia and especially the Murray-Darling Basin. Annoyingly, the bird didn't turn around, so I believe it's the red-rumped parrot, but if I'm wrong, obviously, let me know. I then saw another kookaburra, always worth getting the camera out for that. And then I saw this here, the Australasian darter. These are also called snake birds. It had just been hunting, so it was time for it to dry off. Then near that we have the Australian wood duck. These roosts in trees, which is pretty unusual for a duck. They use tree hollows to nest, and ducklings leap out the next day. But today their only concern was sitting and enjoying the beautiful weather. Nearby them there was a little pied cormorant. These hunt for fish, yabbies, and aquatic insects. Nearby them was a common starling. These were introduced to Australia and are now highly invasive. They compete aggressively with native birds for hollows. I then saw another white-plumed honey-eater. This one was very actively looking for food. You could see how it was scanning very quickly, looking for any signs of movements in the trees, quickly jumping from one branch to the next. I then saw this willy wagtail. This is one of Australia's most recognisable birds. He didn't stay for long, he seemed quite busy. This here is a bird's nest, and then this here is one of the largest spider nests I've ever seen in my life. I'm glad I didn't walk into that. I then saw another grey butcherbird. This species ended up being quite common in the Riverland, but it's not something that I'm very used to, so I got my camera out every time. But it didn't stay for long.
That was an absolutely incredible walk. I don't know how many species I saw, like between 15 and 20 or something. Absolutely incredible.
Then when I got to the car park, I saw this purple swamp hen, of course with a wood duck in the background. He was slowly grazing, just like a chicken would. This parkland seemed to be absolutely idyllic. And the wood duck seemed quite confused on what I was doing. After that, I got in the car and headed off, and it wasn't long until I bumped into the next species. Now this time, it wasn't a bird, but it was this very weird looking creature here.
Now this here next to me is a shingleback lizard. As you can see, he's got this really gorgeous blue tongue here. Despite how dangerous they look, they're not dangerous at all.
So these shingleback lizards, also known as bobtails or sleepy lizards, they stick out their blue tongues in order to scare away any predators. After ensuring he crossed the road safely, we kept going. So we got to this section here of the Murray River National Park, and it wasn't long until I saw another species. So this here is a great cormorant. There was a few of them that were swimming around in this area. And even though I felt like I had seen a rare animal, the truth is they're actually widespread globally, found on every single continent except Antarctica. But still, of course, I wanted to film them. But I'm glad I spent that time there filming them, or I might have not seen the species that I saw afterwards. Now the next one for me is definitely a lifer. This next species here is a sacred kingfisher, or at least I believe so. I actually think it looks quite similar to a forest kingfisher, but they're not found in this area here, so it's highly unlikely. So most likely this here is a sacred kingfisher. I was so excited to get this footage, and it was only there for about 30 seconds before it flew off and I didn't see it again, but I was lucky to get this photo here, which I'm very happy about. Even though the moment was short-lived, this was one of the highlights for my trip, but little did I know I would take the best photo of my life the next day. Later that evening we went for a walk. We didn't end up seeing many species here, which I found quite confusing. The sun was setting and it seemed to be the perfect time for the bird life to come out, but as we walked, it remained quite quiet. We didn't hear much and we didn't see much. However, later in the river, I caught a movement, and the movements ended up being more and more frequent. And I then saw a large group of what I later realized was carp. After a while, they were everywhere you looked. They were absolutely massive. They can grow up to over 1 meter in length. They dominated this river. They swam gracefully and slowly, like sharks hunting in the water. They felt like they were almost too big to be there. They cruised under the skin of the water, breaking the surface for a second before sliding away again. No splash, no urgency. The river bends around them like they're in charge. There were so many of them. They owned these waters. Quiet and slow and everywhere. I continued to walk, but didn't see much more along the way, so I headed back to the car to try and find some more bird life and wildlife as the sun set. And as the sun set, it didn't take long until the kangaroos came out. I've probably seen well over 1,000 kangaroos at this point, but every time I still get excited. And nearby was another Australian icon, the emu. The emu is the second largest bird in the world after the ostrich, and they can run up to 50 kilometers per hour with their long, powerful strides. However, these emus were not stressed. They walked slowly, gracefully, looking for any berries, anything to eat. As they walked, every now and then they would take a quick glance at the car just to see that we weren't moving, and then concentrated back on trying to find some food. It's always incredible to see these birds. They look almost prehistoric, like dinosaurs. And then, after a while, they walked away. As the sun set, the orange hues danced over the trees and reflected onto the bird life. This yellow rosella sat here, keeping an eye out for anything it should be wary of. Little did I know, only half an hour later, I would capture a very dramatic and tense scene. But in these moments, everything seemed calm and peaceful. The yellow rosellas sat, enjoying the sunset. And I took this photo here, which I'm quite happy with. We kept driving, searching for bird life. This was the perfect time. New species were starting to come out, with the next one being a dusky wood swallow. So this species is endemic to Australia. They hunt insects on the wing just like a swallow. Now these are often seen in groups, and this time was no exception. There was a bunch of them here, and they were very active. They're actually one of Australia's most understated flyers. I managed to get this photo here of one sitting on a stump just before it flew away. And with these dusky wood swallows were some juveniles. These sit quietly and beg noisily. It was too windy though to pick up any of the sound. As the sun was setting, I was increasing my ISO by the minute, as I didn't want to give up just yet on seeing more bird life. And a few minutes later there was something incredible to be seen. But before that, another species that I saw in this area was another white-plumed honeyeater. Now I've already showed you quite a bit of footage of this, but they were doing something here that was quite interesting. They were landing on the car, specifically at this point in the window, and they kept chirping and almost attacking the window here. I wasn't sure if there were maybe bugs on the window, or if they saw the reflection in the glass and confused this for another honeyeater, but they actually did this until we drove off. As the sun slowly set, I kept looking. And the later it got, the more birds of prey started showing up. Small birds of prey, large birds of prey, they were almost everywhere, surrounding the skies and in the branches. And this was their prime hunting time. And whilst driving home, I managed to capture one of these moments. A group of whistling kites surrounded a family of cockatoos. The corellas shrieked, but there were more whistling kites by the minute. The nearby animals fled, and the corellas tried to team up. But the kites were plentiful, angry, swooping, even attacked each other. The Corellas tried to stay calm, protecting the nest, but the whistling kites were everywhere. As the sun set, the Corellas were panicking. The kites were getting closer and closer, and one of the Corellas had no choice but to flee. He was by himself, and the whistling kites loomed over him in the sky. In the end, he would surely not make it. The sun painted the sky a gorgeous red. The Riverland is a cruel place, but a beautiful one. It had been a long day, with many sightings. I drove to the Airbnb and reflected on everything I had seen. As the kangaroos hid in the shrubs and jumped away. It was the end of my first day in the Riverland. It had been an eventful one. But it wasn't over yet. There was so much more to come. The next day, I drove to Hart Lagoon, a quiet backwater wetland just outside of Waikerie. It's tucked beside the Murray and shaped by floods, droughts, and time. It's a floodplain lagoon, and it fills during high river flows and shrinks back down during dry years. The water is often still, shallow, and reflective, which makes it ideal for bird life. With this in mind, there are a few bird hides set up. The first species that I saw was this wood duck family. As I walked to the next bird hide, I watched my step for ants. And on my walk over, I heard a familiar sound. It was a kookaburra in the tree. He was shy and kept hiding behind branches, so I couldn't really get a good photo. The weather was absolutely perfect. So far, it had been an incredible road trip. Little did I know I would take the best photo of my life just a few hours later. But first, it was time to explore this wetland. On my walk up to the bird hide, I kept my eye out for any birds, and I saw this great egret sitting on this tree. These hunt by standing motionless and then striking fast. From my understanding, this one wasn't hunting, he was just enjoying the day. After that, it was time to keep going and make my way up to the bird hide to see what I could see in Hart Lagoon. And then, on the walk back, in the reeds and in the bushes, I could hear a superb fairy wren jumping about, but I couldn't get a good shot. He was very quick. I then saw some more familiar faces, such as the white-plumed honey-eater and another grey butcherbird. After this, I spotted a family of yellow rosellas. After that, in the tree up ahead, I spotted some movement, and I believe this is a white-browed tree creeper. And then lastly, I saw this silhouette. I'm unsure what type of species this is, so if you could let me know in the comments, that would be great. It could be a female superb fairy wren, but on the odds that it's something rarer, I thought I should include this footage. After this, we headed off to the next location, which was a canoe launching site by the river. But this place had a different energy. It was quiet, but not idyllic. The animals were hiding, skittish, worried. Everyone was on edge. The kites were back, ready to hunt, and the animals took cover. The silent raptors glided in the air. The world becomes reduced to movement. A ripple in the grass, a flicker along the riverbank, a shadow that hesitates for half a second too long. The river was quiet, and the animals stayed still. But this time, one animal would fight back. The larger birds in this area seemed to be more peaceful. The small birds were worried about the whistling kites, whereas the pelicans knew they were safe. They moved slowly and gracefully in the water. A heron hunted its next meal, eagerly awaiting any movement on the surface. On this trip, I filmed with my iPhone and with my Sony a6400 with a 500mm zoom lens attached. As I was fully zoomed in for most of the shots, I struggled quite a lot to keep a steady hand but I was quite happy with this footage that I got of a pelican lifting off. After this, we headed off to the next location, and I had one bird species on my mind. This rainbow bee-eater is an icon of the region, and I desperately wanted to spot one. Yet, they're not guaranteed, and they're still quite rare. But I kept my hopes high, and looked for any signs of movement. And with pure luck, I happened to spot the exact species that I was after.
I think I just took the best photo I've ever taken in my entire life. That was an absolutely awesome experience. There were like, I don't know, between 5 and 10 rainbow bee eaters all flying around catching moths or flies? Bee eaters, that makes sense. They were flying around with that river in the background. It was just an awesome view. And then they were so active and stuff. I think it's the best photo I've ever taken in my entire life. I think. I'm very, very happy with it. They were flying about so quick and stuff, and it was very difficult to track in the camera. This is a 150 to 500 zoom lens, so I could get pretty close, but when you're that zoomed in, it's obviously very difficult to like track them and stuff. I think I got one where two landed on a branch and started like, you know, arguing with each other. I'm gonna check when I get home on the laptop, but I think that's the best photo I've ever taken in my entire life.
I was so happy with that photo. I took absolutely hundreds, and one ended up being a good shot. That evening, as the sun was setting, we headed to a place called Possum Parade, which is famous for having possums in the evening. But on the walk along the river, we got distracted by a family of wood ducks and their newborn baby. As I neared the park where the possums would hopefully be found, I realized I was reaching the end of this road trip. Then, in the water, I spotted an animal that I hadn't seen before. This is the rakali. So this is a native Australian water rat. It may look like it shouldn't be in the water, but they actually do swim. They're found in freshwater rivers, lakes, and wetlands. Their diet is made up of crayfish, mussels, fish, frogs, and aquatic insects. It was a new species to add to my list. But now I had my fingers crossed to find a possum. They live in the palm trees here by the river. And as the sun set, it wasn't long until I heard some scurrying in the trees. And so I managed to see some. The perfect way to end the road trip. Now this place is known for not just having possums, but the fact that they're very friendly. And if you're lucky and bring some fruit, then you might potentially be able to hand feed them. So we patiently waited for them to come down, and wait for them to build up their confidence and trust. And it didn't take long until they were ready for dinner. And whilst filming these possums, I was listening to the laughter coming from the pub behind, and the gentle rocking of the river boats along the water. I realized something. This whole time I've been saying that this is a holiday destination, a bucket list item, or a road trip. But the Riverland is much more than that. It's a home. Not only to these two adorable possums, but to the river monsters that are lurking in the water. To the animals we see and the ones we don't. The giant birds of prey that soar the fields. To the tiny birds hiding in the bushes. The icons of Australia, like the emu and the kangaroo. The cheerful parrots and the kingfishers. And the reptiles that you're lucky to catch a glimpse of. I was wrong about the Murray River. It's not just a holiday destination. It's a home. And now it's home to a memory of where I took the best photo of my life.
Ow!
Thank you, Murray River.